football, basketball. This is No Cap Bets with Plus Mo. No lies, no limits, no long talking. This is No Cap Bets. You like football, basketball, you're chilling with the homies, bet them whatever, 10, 20, 50, 100. The friendly wager with the homie. This is the podcast for you. Never claim to be an industry professional. Just trying to get you to quick flip off of the sports ting. No lies, no limits, no long talking. This is No Cap Bets. Let's get right into it. NBA news just developing. Karl Anthony Towns is on the move out of Minnesota. Details are confirmed via multiple sports news outlets that Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, and a first-round pick headed to the Timberwolves. Karl Anthony Towns headed to the New York Knicks. Knicks seem to be building a winner over the last couple of years. Some really big transactions, starting with Jalen Brunson. And it seemed like the writing was on the wall for Julius Randle. If you think about it, he went out. New York kept winning without the guy. And it just seemed like even when he was around Jalen Brunson, he could get his footing, you know. It just seemed like he just was not a good fit. And what does this mean for both teams? Well, if you're looking at the New York Knicks, they've already been a legitimate threat in the East. Brunson, they got Bridges now, Josh Hart, and Karl Anthony Towns. You got Precious off the bench. You got Alec Burks. Like, it's a deep team. And they dropped a Villanova guy. I didn't necessarily see that coming. I'm sure the fans aren't necessarily too happy about that. They loved a good Italian dude in New York. It felt like a fan favorite, but good on the front office. I too know what it's like to sacrifice a player as a Raptors fan. We got rid of quite possibly the greatest Raptor to ever play in a Raptors uniform for Kawhi Leonard. So I completely get it. And on the other side, for the Timberwolves, you know, I'm proud of them as well. They didn't trade Cat for a pair of basketballs. Like, again, as a Raptors fan, that's what we did with Vince Carter. I bet you couldn't tell me who we traded him for when he went to the New Jersey Nets. So that Twin Tower experiment with him and Rudy Gobert, I guess it just wasn't going to work. And they went pretty deep with that team. So I'm curious to see what they can do. Moving on to some more news, back to the NFL. Jerry Jones, what am I even going to say? Jerry Jones caught on Instagram Live with Jamie Foxx. This one's just hilarious. So Jerry Jones is essentially at an NFL combine. Jamie Foxx is sitting right with them in the practice session. And it seems like Jerry Jones doesn't know that he's on Instagram Live. Jamie Foxx is just kind of holding it in front of his face. So while Jamie Foxx is live streaming, you hear Jerry Jones say, and I'm just going to read from the transcript, no diddy. He looked pretty good right there. And he's describing a player on the field. And he says, he showed balance. He's 5'9.5", 210 pounds, 9 and 3-inch hands. Okay. You know, everything sounds good so far. And then he continues to detail and he goes, 8.5-inch dick. What's going on? So Jamie Foxx like quickly looks up and just ends the live. First of all, I love that it happened to Jamie Foxx because you know he's going to appear on some podcasts in the next year and talk about what's going on. Like, so I have many, many questions. Like, number one, is Jerry Jones having freak offs? Because how does he know? Like, why would he know 8.5-inch? Like, how did he know that? Number one. And I mean, for the most part, he said it so comfortably in front of Jamie Foxx. It started to make me think, has Jamie been to some Diddy parties? You know, why did he say that so comfortably in front of another dude? And he said it so confidently, again, like he walks in the locker room and like he's got the eye test. He could tell you exactly, you know, your size. Pause. I don't know where I can give the benefit of the doubt here. You know, I could say, yo, he's an 81-year-old man. He's talking crazy. But that's just too crazy. And also, there is no benefit of the doubt. That was like the zestiest thing. I don't know what Jamie Foxx... I want to hear what he has to say more on that, maybe. I don't know. But it seems like Jerry Jones has denied, like, even remembering. He played the YSL Woody. They asked him about it, and he said, you know, Jamie Foxx is a good friend of mine, and I don't recall. Nice try. Nice try, Jerry Jones. We know what you're up to. Freak offs, Dallas Cowboys. Makes sense. He didn't trade Dak. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if Dak's doing something for him. week 3 recap, since we're already on the NFL, let's talk about it. We had the Denver Broncos essentially win from 6.5 point dogs outright. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 26-7. We had the Minnesota Vikings run through the Texans 34-7. They were 2.5 point underdogs, winning that outright. Pittsburgh Steelers moved to 3-0. Pretty battered up Chargers right now, 20-10. They win as 2.5 point favorites. The Philadelphia Eagles, they win outright as 2.5 point dogs on the road against the New Orleans Saints. The Green Bay Packers, which we told you 2 weeks in a row, we told you about this guy, Malik Willis, wins outright against the Tennessee Titans 30-14. Tennessee still trying to find some footing. More on that to come. New York Giants handle the Cleveland Browns, also on the road as 10.5 point favorites, winning it outright 21-15. The Seattle Seahawks make easy work of the Minnesota Dolphins, who have no Tua. They were 3.5 point favorites. They won 24-3. Carolina, 7.5 point dogs on the road. They beat Vegas 36-22. And then we've got the Indianapolis Colts winning their 1.5 point favorite spread and covering against the Chicago Bears. That one was easy work. Game of the week, we might call it. Baltimore 28 on the road in Dallas. 28-25. They cover as 1.5 point favorites. We took that here at No Cap Bets, taking us 2 of our 3 right then and there. We could have told you real big comeback at the end, but Baltimore pretty much dominated the entire game, 21-6, pretty much like up until the last 3 minutes of the third quarter, maybe. And we had the Los Angeles Rams with probably the upset of the week. They were 6.5 point dogs. They went outright against the San Francisco 49ers. Our third and final lock was the Detroit Lions as 2.5 point favorites, winning over the Arizona Cardinals, taking us to 3-0 in week 3. Make sure you lock in with the locks. We are actually 8-1 on the season. Sunday Night Football saw the Kansas City Chiefs basically squeak one out as 3.5 point favorites against the Atlanta Falcons. Enough controversy there. We're going to actually talk about that quite a bit. And Monday Night Football, Buffalo, light work. Jacksonville, 47-10. They came in as 4-point favorites. Yeah, they murdered that. Nothing much to say. It was over pretty much right when it started. And another big upset, Jaden Daniels, looking like a superstar, 19 for 21 passing, something like 91%. That's like a rookie record, 38-33. They beat the Bengals on the road as 7.5 point favorites. And out of the 8 underdogs, 7 of them won outright. So 8 covers in 16 games, 7 outright wins by the underdogs. Let's talk about, before I even get to the Thursday night game, let's talk about Sunday night and the Kansas City refs. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs. So what are we talking about at this point? It seems like week in and week out, they get some kind of call. I mean, I'll give them week 1. Receiver had a toe on the line. Baltimore could have won that game. I'm going to let you guys have that one. Baltimore should have won that. Left the door open, cool. But this one against the Bengals with the pass interference, that was insane. And then, instead of the refs understanding, oh, we gave Kansas City the call last week, this week now, with the game on the line, Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons in the red zone, a missed pass interference call. Basically, like, the dude's not even looking at the secondary's not even looking at the ball. And he just goes out of nowhere and tackles Kyle Pitts before the ball even gets there in the end zone. Should have been first and down on the 1, which would have gave the Atlanta Falcons a 24-22 lead. Now, I know people are saying, oh, Atlanta got the ball back, but it doesn't matter. If they get in the end zone and it's 24-22, they now have the momentum. There's a whole difference between getting the ball back when you're down and being up 24-22 and playing defense. So if they stopped them and they were able to drive again, imagine if they were able to stop Kansas City with a 2-point lead, That could have been Atlanta's game, and it's another missed call. So it has me thinking, is the jig up? Does everybody know that the refs are on Kansas City side? Like, it should be very obvious at this point when you're in that kind of position. It's kind of like Shaq back in the day. Like, they're just fouling you. You ain't saying nothing. But this one was so blatantly obvious. Cost Atlanta the game. And if you're Atlanta, you got to be proud of it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the heart of it, you kept it down to one possession. Really should have covered and won it outright. But if the refs beat you, the refs beat you. What can you say? They asked Raheem Morris, the coach of the Atlanta Falcons. He basically said, I like my money. I like what Arthur Blank is paying me, so I'm not going to comment on any refs, but you guys saw what you saw. And we all saw what we saw for the second week in a row. It looks like the agenda is making sure that the Kansas City Chiefs either come close or three-peat. That's clearly the agenda. But we know why you're here. Oh, before we get to this week's slate and the locks, just a recap of Thursday Night Football. What is up with those Dallas Cowboys? Yes, they win 20-15, but they don't cover the 5.5 against the Giants. They should have really made some light work out of them, and they didn't. So, more to come on the Cowboys. I don't know. I think they're kind of stinking it up this year. Dak, ran in the locker room right after the Ravens game. It was like, hey, jump off now. I don't know what that means. Like, dude, you should just be playing good so nobody has to jump off. But hey, it is what it is. Shout out to my boy Juggy, who took the Cowboys last week against the Ravens and is sending me either a jersey or a Baltimore Ravens zip up. Thank you for making that bet on air. But without any further ado, we know why you came. Let's give you the locks right back on No Cap Bets. Welcome back. You are now listening to No Cap Bets, and we know what you came for, so let's go ahead and give you to the locks. First lock of the day, we're going to take the Cincinnati Bengals at 4.5. There's no long talking with this one, guys. This is still the Bengals. Like I said earlier before the break, Kansas City narrowly escaped them. They dropped one that they should have won against the Commanders, and the whole Patriots week 1 thing, I think that was like a shock to the system. Let's also remember that Jamar Chase not getting his money is a big part of this 0-3 start. There's a lot of frustration that was going around in the offseason. Didn't get them time to get their reps in. He didn't know what the future looked like. So it's going to take this some time to get this team gelling in the way that they typically would. So I think it happens this week. This is actually a perfect opportunity for them to show out, remind people that they are legit Super Bowl contenders every year since Joe Burrow kind of started taking over. The Carolina Panthers 3-5-1 dating back to last season as an home underdog against the spread. They are 2-5 against the spread and straight up against the AFC. They are 1-7 ATS since 2021 with rest advantage. Obviously, the Bengals played Monday night, so they're on a short week. And when they do have short weeks, they have covered 8 out of the last 10 matchups. This is another save your season kind of situation for the Bengals. So, as I said, no long talking. Bengals 4.5. First lock. Our second lock, man, I hate to do this. The one blemish on our record here at No Cap Bets came from the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is hard to take the Jags at 5.5. I think it's up to 6.5 now. Let me just quickly check. Either way, this is a very tough team to take. So that's exactly why I'm taking them. We're going to go ahead and take them at 6.5 and lock them in. We do not duck the smoke over here at No Cap Bets. Jacksonville is in save their season mode right now. Coach is in save my job mode. And you have to play with some pride after a loss like you just had against the Buffalo Bills. That was insane. 47 points you're giving up. However, let's take in the Jacksonville Jaguars have one of the toughest strengths of schedule so far. They opened it up against the Dolphins with Tua. That was week 1. Week 2, Cleveland, not the worst team, definitely not one of the best top tier teams, but still, it's the NFL here. That's not an easy team to beat. And then you had the Bills, who's always, again, one of the toughest contenders in the AFC East. So I would assume that now you have a team that's a little more beatable. You're a division dog in this situation. The road team in the last 5 matchups has won outright. So this is the biggest must win on the slate. Despite being 2-1, Houston has yet to cover the number all year. This is a desperate division dog on the road. To me, it's a no-brainer. Jacksonville was 4-2 against the spread against the division last season and straight up. And yeah, with the short week, playing with some pride. And if you look at the rest of the season, Jacksonville has the Colts, the Bears, the Patriots. Those sound like wins. The Packers, that's going to be tough. Philly, that's also going to be tough. Minnesota and Detroit. So you're screwed in that little NFC trip right there. And then you got the Texans one more time at home. Tennessee, the Jets, Vegas, and the Colts. So there's still a chance for Jacksonville to actually make it to the playoffs. It starts now. Their backs against the wall, like they're in save their season mode. So that's why I'm taking Jacksonville at 5.5. The third and final lock. Honestly, if I go 0-3 this week, I totally understand. Like I'm jumping out on a limb here. We're gonna go with the Los Angeles Chargers. Come on, Bolt City, please hold me down on this one. So these Chargers are 7.5-point dogs. I love this look right now. So underdogs that are above 7 points so far this season are something like 12-1 against the spread. We have another division dog here. All of the stars on the Chargers out. Bosa out. Derwin James, shady suspension, but he's out. They've got 2 offensive tackles out. Herbert, ankle. We don't know if it's going to be him or Taylor Heineke. So it just seems so right. All the money should go to Kansas City. And why are they only favored by a touchdown? I can tell you why. Because Kansas City hasn't been playing that good this year. I haven't seen anything that shows me they're going to dominate. And now you're going to go up against Jim Harbaugh, who probably wants this win more than anything. Even with his guys down, he's going to try to rally this team who is 2-1. So they haven't been playing bad. And let's just see what happens here. Now, a big thing that they're going to have to really solidify is their run game. They didn't get very much, I think under 50 yards last week. So if they can put this ball on the ground, interesting fact here, the Chargers' last win at home against KC was in 2013. It's been 10 years, guys. Phillip Rivers ain't coming through that door. So hold us down. The Chiefs have never lost at SoFi. I don't expect them to lose, but I do expect the Chargers to cover. We're going to go Chargers 6.5 as our third and final lock. If you like everything that you heard, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, comment. I definitely want to hear what you guys are saying. And we'll be back for next week. You've got your locks right there. Chargers, Bengals, Jaguars. And it's been another episode of No Cap Bets. I'm Plus. Bless up.